Hello everyone, this is me Himani Singh, your faculty for CUET MSW examination, and in today's class, we'll be discussing previous year questions, right? So here, a very important trick to clear any exam is practicing as much as you can your PYQs, right? So here what we are doing today is we are discussing and we'll be discussing it entirely with detailed solution, your MSW CUET, this 2022 one PYQ. Okay, here we'll be discussing it with detailed solution and everything. And of course, by this way, we'll revise as well. And at the same time, I'll also be discussing with you or the approach, the way to approach these questions, and also how to eliminate the wrong ones, right? Because here in this question or in this paper entirely, you cannot take that risk of just marking any just clicking it and you won't get your marks deducted, right? So here there is negative marking, there is provision of negative marking as well. So we would avoid that thing, right? And of course, as I said, that I would also here discuss the way of approaching the questions, right? So without any further delay, let's just begin. All right, great students. So here you see, this we have already discussed under our environmental aspects. You'll see the questions, most of the questions that we'll be discussing today have already been taught in the class, right? And that in of course in a detailed way. But here it's just that we are revising and we are of course going through these questions and also trying to see how to approach these questions as well. So here we'll just do that, right? All right, great. So here you see what was the main aim of Kyoto Protocol that was signed in Kyoto, Japan in 1997 under the United Nations framework. So yes, students, here you see, was it about reducing acid rain? Was it about reducing greenhouse gas emissions, or reducing ecological damage, or reducing damage due to disasters? So this you know entirely that it was not about reducing acid rain. It was not about reducing your disasters, right? So what was it about? Was it about reducing ecological damage? But that's of course an umbrella term. So what was particularly about? We have all known the answer that it is about reducing greenhouse gas emission. Kyoto Protocol is about reducing greenhouse gas emission, right? All right, great. Let's just move forward. Great. So what is the correct sequence of the 4 elements of observational learning? Here we have discussed this in our psychological concepts, that in the observational learning, what happens is that firstly, it is attention, that of course you try to understand something, right? Then you memorize something, you internalize something, then you imitate that thing that you have seen, okay? And then you desire for that thing, right? So second one is your answer. When we say that the first one is your attention. So basically it is attention. Then there is retention. And there is imitation, which is the repetition of that thing. And the fourth one is your desire, which is your motivation, right? So it is your attention, retention, imitation, and then your desire, right? Which is these are your 4 stages of, maybe we can call it as your 4 elements of observational learning. All right, great students. So B is your answer over here. All right. What was the main aim of the Janani Suraksha Yojana? To reduce the birth rate, to decrease your fertility rate, reduction of MMR, which is a maternal mortality rate, or family planning. Yes. So here with the Janani only, you can make a guess. The Janani means, of course, the mother, right? So here, basically, this is your reduction of MMR, right? Reduction of maternal mortality rate. Janani is, of course, the Hindi translation or the English translation of this is the mother, right? So basically, the main aim of this scheme was the Janani Suraksha Yojana was that there should be reduction of the maternal mortality rate, the rising rate of women that are dying while giving birth, right? So it is that. All right, moving forward. What is the golden revolution as related to? Is it related to jute? Is it related to pulses, milk, or horticulture and honey? It is not related to jute. Milk is, of course, white revolution. It is not related to pulses. This is related to your horticulture and honey, right? I hope it is clear to you. And purple revolution is for lavender. Milk is white revolution. right? What they can do is, of course, so I hope it was clear to you that the golden revolution is related to your horticulture and honey, right? Milk is for white, pulses is, of course, pulses is not related to it, jute is not related to it, it is related to your horticulture and honey. And of course, apart from this, there are other agriculture revolutions as well. For the green revolution is, right, it is for agriculture. White revolution, we have discussed that it is for your milk and dairy. Black revolution, if they ask you, so do not mark any other thing. Black revolution is for petroleum. Okay. Black revolution is petroleum. Purple, we have already discussed. It's your saffron. Okay. Pink revolution is for your onion and prawns, right? And your brown revolution is for your leather and cocoa market, right? Blue revolution, if they ask you, so that is fish. And golden, so we have already discussed horticulture. Yellow revolution is not for pulses and all those things. Please do not mark yellow for pulses. It is your oil seeds. Okay, your oil seeds production and all these things are your yellow revolution, right? And if they ask you about what is evergreen development, they can ask you such a thing, right? What is evergreen revolution? So your evergreen evolution would be, your revolution would be this overall development of agriculture, right? So we have discussed black, blue, your brown, golden, green, and gray revolution if they ask you. So gray revolution is basically associated with your fertilizers and all those things. Pink, we have already discussed, it's for onion. Red revolution is for tomato and meat. Okay. And silver revolution, of course, they can ask like just like they have, because earlier they have asked what is golden revolution. They can of course ask this time what is silver revolution. So what is the silver revolution associated with? It is associated with your egg or poultry production. Okay, it is associated with your egg or poultry production, right? Milk and dairy is for white revolution, and this is quite understood as well. So I hope it is quite clear to you, students. Yellow, green, gray, black, gray. Please do not miss it. It's for your fertilizer. And purple, if they ask you, it's for saffron. Okay, kindly do not skip that or just mess it up, please. Yes. We have already discussed this in our economic concept that the duo, which are called as the architects of the new economic policy 1991 in India are, is it P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh? Rajiv Gandhi and P.V. Narasimha Rao, Manmohan Singh and Pranab Mukherjee and Yashwant Sinha. Who are these people? Who are these duo? Who these two people are? So here the answer would be first one, P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, right? I hope it is clear to you. Kindly do not make a mistake because we have already discussed this. Yes, we have discussed the big five theory of personality. So here what the E stands for. Is it empathy, external, energy, or extroversion? Here, your answer would be extroversion, right? Your answer is going to be extroversion. Because we have already discussed that the big five theory of personality is, your first one is your neuroticism. Second one is your introversion, extroversion, right? And fourth one is your consciousness, and fifth one is your agreeableness. Okay, so these are your big five theory of personality, right? Great. I hope it is clear to you that the E stands for extroversion. All right, the technique of dream analysis associated with, this one is associated with Simon Freud, Eric Berne, Pavlov, or William Gurdjieff. See, when we were talking about this or when I taught you this, right? So if you go back to your question paper, or no, sorry, if you go back to your one of your classes regarding books and authors, so there you'll see I have discussed what all books have been written by Simon Freud. And you will see that dream analysis is one of the book, or interpretation of dream is one of the book that is written by Simon Freud. Yeah, so your answer is Simon Freud. All right. Simon Freud is your answer. All right. Which of the following is not related to environmental protection? What it is? Use of paper bags? No. The precautionary principle, poverty alleviation, or your sustainable development? Yes, so here you see that, so is it use of paper? Is it the precautionary principle? Is it poverty alleviation and sustainable development? So here, when we see environmental protection, of course, use of paper bags is associated with environmental protection. Sustainable development is also associated with environmental protection. If you guys would be confused, then you would be confused between these two. So you might mark this precautionary principle and leave this one, right? That this is not related to your environmental protection. But yes, as in the environmental case laws or even these things, you see that precautionary principle is basically it's a notion or it's a principle that is used to discuss or explain about things. For example, these are the precautionary measures that the government should take, right? Before there is some scientific study related to that had not conducted or things like that, right? That there is no scientific study that have been done to see, for example, that what would happen if an invasive species would come and, of course, would do destruction to our would do destruction in our ecological balance. So here you see that this would be the precautionary principle that there should be control over this. There should be, of course, this should be taken into consideration that the invasive species and all those things which are responsible for extincting the native species, right? So here that should be taken into consideration. So that is basically a precautionary principle, right? This is what called the precautionary principle here is. So kindly do not mark your precautionary principle as something which is not related to your environmental protection, right? So here, use of paper bags, no. Precautionary principle, poverty alleviation, sustainable development. So here, your poverty alleviation is not associated with your environmental protection. All right? All right, great students. We are moving ahead. So here, which agency facilitates child adoption and foster care in India? So as I said, this is also known as CARA, and they can of course ask you. The last time they asked you that who is responsible for it. This time they can ask you that what is the full form of CARA, right? So here, of course, the answer lies in that only. So the answer is your first one. I'm sorry, your second one, which is your Child Adoption Resource Authority. So basically, it's a body, this agency, this comes under your Ministry of Women and Child Development, right? And it was established as a statutory body. Okay. And here they have the powers. And what they do is they regulate everything related to child adoptions in the country, whether you're in adoptions, that is your that adoption that have been done in the Indian context or the with the Indian parents only, or adoption that are done with foreigners as well, foreigners and our Indian children, right? So here, this is one agency which takes care of all these things, and at the same time, there is also one thing that is associated with it. Yes, that the minimum age of any parent in India to adopt a child would be 30 years of age, right? 30 years of age, and maximum could be 50, right? And also there are things that a single father cannot adopt a girl child, right? And also all such rules are there. So Kara is the agency, it's the main authority, it's the main body. Kara, there is Kara and then there is Sara also. The Kara is of course the main body, which takes care of all these things, right? Great. We're moving ahead. Satyagraha for drinking water is associated with what? Is it associated with Mahatma Gandhi? Is it Bhimrao Ambedkar, Vallabhbhai Patel, or none of the above? Or you have not even heard of it? So here, when this question is asked, that who was the one who was associated with Satyagraha for drinking water, right? And we have already heard of Satyagraha, always heard of Satyagraha is associated with Mahatma Gandhi. But here, what do you think is the right answer? Because here, definitely the answer is not Mahatma Gandhi. You have four things in options. Either it is Mahatma Gandhi, it is Bhimrao Ambedkar, Vallabhbhai Patel, or none of the above. Right. So here you need to understand that this Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he was the first person who was associated with not this Satyagraha for drinking water. And it is not Mahatma Gandhi, right? Because he organized the Satyagraha in the year 1927 as in the city of Mahad. It is also known as Mahad Satyagraha. Mahad Satyagraha or Chavdar Satyagraha, because here this satyagraha was associated with, or it was related to, get the untouchable community the right to take water from the city shower pond, right? So here, basically, it is associated with that. If they ask you by other names of it, right, such as satyagraha this Mahad satyagraha, that is also right answer. If they ask you this Shavda Tale of Satyagraha, that is also right, because it was the Shavda pond only from where this protest was going on, the Satyagraha thing was going on regarding that they should also have the access, being from the hailing from the SC/ST community, they should also have the right to take water from the pond. They should also have access to those public resources. So basically, this Shawad pond is related to your, I may not pronounce the name right, but this is the one, okay, CHAVAD, right? So here, that is your answer. Dr. B. Rao Ambedkar. So it was 20th March, all right?